Yesterday in my Invictus Gaming vs JDG video, I made a comment that I thought of as pretty throwaway, but ended up generating a few questions in YouTube and in DMs. In 2021, bot laners don't win games. This was a throwaway comment because it was mostly referring to the context of a game where one bot lane was MF and one bot lane was Jhin. These champions usually are picked because they get prio and they provide a lot of utility in fights, not necessarily because they carry fights. And that's more of what I was talking about. Obviously, within the context of 2021, you can still play things like Kai'Sa, Samira, and play it to really heavily snowball bot and make your bot laner the carry, but the primary blinds are MF and Jhin, and if your bot laner is somewhat competent, you can't really get away with blinding Kai'Sa, because you'll get destroyed in the lane. But that is not to say that if your bot laner is an MF or a Jhin, that you can't still quote-unquote play around bot lane. There's a little bit more nuance to talking about, okay, what is my strong side, or what side of the map do I play to, than just saying, okay, we're picking a tank on top and a carry bot lane that's going to win the lane on bottom. Or we're going to play a carry top laner and a bot laner who's just going to take it and hope that help comes in the next game and his coach lets him play Kai'Sa. Generally speaking, in 2021, priority from any lane facilitates the jungler, just because the state of jungle XP, and since I bring it up so often, I might one day just make a video particularly about the math behind that. In the meantime, however, today was a really good day to talk about this concept because of the series between BLG and EStar. Obviously, teams that don't excite a lot of people, so I don't expect this video to get a lot of views. But in that series, in games 2 and 3, BLG actually played heavily around advantages accrued by their bot laner. But I also feel like their bot laner didn't win them the game as much as how they played with those advantages and transferred them to the map. Game 2 began much like Game 1 of this series, with a positioning error made by EStar's Rat. Mark immediately capitalizes on it, is able to get him chunked, and blow his cleanse. At this point in the game, we begin to talk about what is the best play on the map for BLG. If this misplay hadn't occurred from Rat, then Meteor probably finishes clearing his bot camps, secures bot scuttle, recalls, and then starts playing towards topside where he has a more volatile matchup between Jace and Kennen. However, because this play occurs, you have to think about how much of an advantage he can get, or BLG in general can get, from abusing this. Since Rat has just burned one sun, plus is extremely low health, there's a very easy way for them to deny a wave and the next wave coming in from Rat completely, and to force him back, potentially secure a kill if they're playing off of that pressure. That is going to be more of an advantage than just simply recalling and going back top and looking top, and far more guaranteed as well because yes, so far hasn't made the same kind of error. And as that incoming wave crashes, they probably planned and timed this according to Meteor's clear, they're able to actually pressure that. Xiaosu completely misses his play, ends up dying under tower for it, and Rat has absolutely nothing he can do to protect his support. Meanwhile, at the same time, Krugs are respawning, so Meteor is able to secure those and deny the second spawn of Krugs from Graves, plus get this bottom scuttle. Now again, we should come back to the idea of what is the best possible play for BLG at this time. I know that probably if the Krugs are just spawning now, then Raptors will be up soon, if they aren't already, depending on what Hacker's path was. So if I'm recalling now after I secure Scuttle, maybe I can contest him on Raptors. I know for sure I'm going to be way stronger on this side because Jhin is going to come back to lane with a better item than Rat. Meanwhile, top lane, it's still very even. There's no guarantee of a win on that side of the map at this point in the game. As a result, it's actually beneficial for Olaf to keep playing around the bottom side of the map because he knows that it's more guaranteed if he wants to deny camps from Graves for him to actually get that. So he'll probably want to keep coming back to these camps as they spawn, keep securing the timer, and then try to control the game through that. Plus, since in a neutral matchup, or a neutral at this point at least, Jace should be able to get prime on his own, there's very likely opportunity for Olaf in this manner to keep denying 3 quadrants of camps from Graves if his timing is really on point. Obviously, BLG aren't fakers, so this doesn't really happen. Now, what does happen is that BLG's jungle and support duo are able to roam in the bottom river and keep control on mid and bot. This gives a great deal of pressure to both Aiming and Zika. However, what we'll talk about is that Xiaosi just burned the flash from Aiming. So if we apply the same semblance of logic to Hacker, we know that it's very likely that enemy jungler will want to pressure BLG's bottom lane at this point and pressure that sums difference. However, this is a very dangerous proposition if we notice how far ahead aiming is, and the fact that we know that Olaf is most likely still in the area. Perhaps if Hacker has this feeling of top camp timers for Meteor, he thinks that he already wins topside. Instead, however, we have a 3v3 in the bottom lane. Kelsey dies instantly, and even though this wave is not in position where BLG can freeze, this could be a very significant pressure point for them if it were. One thing that we haven't really mentioned yet is that the impact of a winning bot lane is felt most in the support matchup. For example, here, after the play that we just witnessed, even though Kelsey is able to get back out on the map first and stand mid lane, Mark gets a longer run timer because he and aiming crashed this wave. Jhin is recalling first, Xayah has to match the recall, and then Jhin can push out another wave. As a result, Mark can be out on the map, affecting other lanes longer without punishing his AD carry. Despite this interaction, Kelsey chooses to make this decision and go top lane anyway. If we notice the position of the wave on the map, then we know that BLG already got his wave in, and he's only standing up this far to try to bait the 2v2, knowing both junglers are on the side of the map. I don't think they really expected Kelsey to be here, but even though his presence results in a kill for EStar, I would say overall in the state of this game, BLG went out. First, Meteor is able to pick up a kill here, and second, we should pay attention to how Mark is responding to this play on topside. As soon as Kelsey dies, Mark starts heading towards bot lane. There are a couple of reasons this is significant. One is that aiming is already stronger than Rat right now, and he's able to actually hit plates in Rat's face. If Mark is also there, then Rat won't even be able to touch the wave, and they can continue to deny Mark, shut down some of EStar's win condition, and win the game that way. Second, as we notice at this point, BLG TP's back to lane right away. Not only does this give them another kill, but it allows him to hold this wave in this position and also maintain control of the top side of the map. If they have control of the top side of the map, then Meteor has a lot more options. He can go now where they have the bot camps warded, and those camps and deny them while his bot lane has so much control, then go back up top knowing that Jace will also have control and complete 3 quadrants. If you watch the rest of the game and the series play out, you notice a lot of instances where aiming is just in a side lane by himself hitting towers, while the rest of the team is running all over the map, setting up skirmishes and fights. This one doesn't go well here, but this is the first instance where aiming is just by himself, picking up the wave, and Mark is responding to a skirmisher pressured topside. But the main end result is, of course, that aiming is able to push up very far. Mark, Meteor, Zika, or Mark, Meteor, BLG are able to solo pressure the lane. They can walk into jungle unafraid, completely control pressure, and no one can contest aiming's wave clear or abilities to get prio mid. This allows for a lot more agency for Jace, Orianna, and Mark, who are arguably the true carries of this game, and aiming is there to pick up the farm, to put Rat down, because Rat should be the carry of EStar once he gets 3 items. Game 3 played out very similarly to Game 2, with pressure from bottom lane allowing Meteor and Mark to walk into parts of enemy jungle, take a lot of really heavy roam timers, and snowball BLG by transferring pressure. However, there was a slight nuance here in that BLG's Zika played Twisted Fate. I wanted to point out a very specific play. On the 530 wave, most solo laners will hit level 6, unless of course they've been denied XP for some reason. Knowing that that's going to happen, Jace has already recalled in response to Kennen's recall, but BLG decide to set up and pick a fight on this timer. In this way, they're creating a situation where Zika can get ahead, or can make use of his ultimate, by making their sideline volatile and pressuring that advantage, so that TF can scoop up kills, snowball his own matchup, and then come back to lane even stronger. I do think it's fairly safe to say that Jhin is probably not going to be the one carrying the fights, despite him having so many kills and so much gold. Obviously, there are a lot of squishy champions in these games on the EStar side, so very likely he does have a huge impact, but if you look at the damage charts from the ends of the games, he's not really the one carrying the fights in general or doing the most DPS as a carry. In fact, I think there was a point in Game 3 where he just opened up ult, seemingly for fun, the rest of his team comes in, collapses, and he uses Gale Force to kill Rat on the turret. He doesn't have to care that much about the cooldowns because he's Pressure has already done the job, has already won the game for the team, and they've been able to extend that to the rest of the map and allow bot lane to carry in the way that it has in 2021. Okay, thanks guys for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to increase my organic following, so it would be great if a lot of you guys would just come back here when you get notifications that a new video is posted. I will try to get a stream up and running soon, but in the meantime, please follow me on Twitter, and hope you are enjoying LPL.